Okay, so I am here to talk about the Kolinsky Series 7 brushes made by Winsor & Newton. This is rather a unique honor for me to talk about this. I'll start off by saying I've known about this brush. This brush is legendary. If you haven't already heard of it, we would hear it's a fabled brush that you hear about in art school. That's actually possibly how I first heard about Winsor & Newton. I think was maybe through by way of the Series 7. As many of you may know, the Winsor & Newton was originally a watercolor manufacturer. Really kind of kicked the whole thing off with modern day manufacture of watercolors. And in the Victorian era, when this company was kind of coming to its own, coincidentally there was a queen named Victoria. It blows my mind, the coincidence there. But yeah, in the Victorian age, Queen Victoria was reigning over England, and stupid joke, sorry. Anyway, but in 1866, being the queen, she kind of, the way queens request things, I guess, is by mandate. And so she put out a royal decree that Winsor & Newton would make a world-class brush, and that world-class brush has be known as the Series 7 brush. Apparently, I'm not 100% sure. I haven't been able to verify this. Maybe Jimmy will pipe in, but the legend goes that it was Queen Victoria's favorite brush size was number 7, and so that's where the number Series 7 came from in the title. But I do say this, I'm going to refer a little bit maybe to some notes because there's an awful lot of really important information. I want to make sure I get it all to you. I don't normally do that in a demo, but I've never demoed Winsor & Newton Series 7 brush before. So anyway, let's start talking about sable in general. All of you have probably heard about sable, right? It is a little critter that runs around in very, very cold climates, particularly Siberia, the Russian steppes, in Mongolia and places like that, and over millions of years, it's developed an incredibly dense and very capable repellent to cold and water, and that is its fur. And so it's got a very dense pelt. It's kind of a burnt orange in color, and it has become prized over the centuries for its ability to wick away moisture and keep the animal warm. And it's very unique in all of the animal kingdom, particularly even amongst animals that are prized for their fur, because of this really, really unique ability that has come about in the specific sable, which is the Kolinsky sable that this brush employs to perform its tasks. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, some of the more unique qualities. But with regard to this particular sable, and when I'm talking about this, a lot of people think squirrel. I'd actually think kind of like combination between like a fox and a squirrel, like a muskrat, a little bit like that. It's probably almost more fox-like than squirrel-like. It's actually a member of it's very closely related to the weasel family. So, sorry? Oh, mustelin? Nice, okay. Well, muscaline. Yes, okay, gotcha. So it's the red fur. It's from the tail that it's harvested. It's only harvested. Well, let me recap. Sable is a very broad general term. Even Kolinsky sable has become, because it's a good sales gimmick, has become rather loosely used in the brush making industry. And when it's referred to in the Series 7, they are specifically not only talking about that one specific animal from which this fur is selected, but a very specific grade of hair selection, and also only from the male animal. The male and female are generally harvested for general sable brushes, which are used widely all the way down to relatively inexpensive brushes, but the Kolinsky sable in this case is very specific, and it has been used in industries such as, even beyond watercolor. The very finest are relegated to watercolor brushes, and within the industry, even the dental profession is actually implemented using these brushes to put the color, employ color onto dental castings and things like that. So that's really jumped up the price in this sable also. So in a nutshell, let me just describe real quick, microscopically, the filament of hair would be like this, and if you looked at it under a microscope, it would be covered with these scales, okay, which basically add a tremendous amount of surface area to the fiber and help hold a tremendous amount of water, copious quantity of water. So what I'm going to do real quick is pass out some of these brushes to let everybody take a look at them. This is a full range here. Generally, they go from the basic range of Series 7 goes from 000 up to 10. So that would be 13 brushes in the Series 7 line. And if I can pass some of these around if you want to take a look at them. All right. By the way, Queen Victoria, I'm going to pass around some of these. These are images of Queen Victoria's. These are originals, so I'm going to pass them around, but the British people do want to get these back intact. So make sure that you don't fold or crease them. Actually, can I grab my notes in from here? Excuse me. Underneath this. Just. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's see. Basically, when Winsor & Newton started this manufacturing process, they went to an area called Lowestoft in London, or just outside London. This was an area for fishing villages. They were uniquely adept at handling fibers from making nets. So there's a very rigid process, and that process is first selection. They select specific sizes of hairs. They do, in the dressing process, something called taper dressing, which is selecting hairs that literally are shaped in order to create this wide bowl. And the wide bowl holds an awful lot of water. It also creates, when wet, a very, very sharp tip. And I'm going to show you how that goes. This is a dry brush, and if you inspect the hairs very carefully, you can see just how perfectly selected they are. When you wet the brush, this is called tipping it, you want to swirl it around so that the water completely fills the top of the brush, okay? And then you pull down like that and you can see the point. And if you form it a little bit, you literally will get a razor sharp point that is unlike any other brush at all. I can tell you, this is a number 14. This is my brush. This is the very highest range. These are only made under a specific number of circumstances when they have fibers that allow them to have this kind of bristle. And when you walk into like an art organization, like in Philadelphia, we have the Philadelphia Watercolor Club. This is like walking into a knife show with Excalibur, literally. I mean, it is just like, oh my God, you know. And then I'll sometimes let the people with the best questions actually hold the brush and stuff like that. But you know, it's pretty cool. So I mean, I'm not kidding. So real quick, I'll just show you. I've got a little bit of an example here. If I load this brush up with pigment, with a brush of this quality, and a brush like this is designed literally to last a lifetime. They are very expensive, you know. In most cases, the expense that you're investing in is a brush that will last you for your lifetime. Even worn down, this brush outperforms the top watercolor brushes out, you know, that are outside the range. A fully loaded brush can literally, in many cases, put in an entire skyline and just keeps on going, and then can even be rolled out and still present an incredibly fine line that just goes and goes and goes. When this thing's loaded up, it holds a significantly larger amount of water than your typical watercolor brush. So people basically know it. It is the standard bearer. There's a lot of companies out there that manufacture brushes. Very few of them have a team of brush manufacturers where the new guy's been there for 25 years. Most of these brush makers that work for Winsor & Newton, it's a lifelong career. And the overseers, the people that actually assemble the brushes, you know, we're talking about 150 years combined knowledge between the handful of guys that actually run this. They are all hand put together. They're all hand selected. They're graded very specifically, tied with linen, glued into a seamless ferrule with a very deep crimp, which basically all, you know, work together to make the brush completely stand alone in the field. And let's see, there were some other points that I wanted to describe real quick. We covered the Royal Warrant. The testing, all the brushes are wet tested by the chief inspector. And when you buy one of these brushes, it comes in this rather elegant case with the velour lining. You'll also notice that inside that case is a little sticker with the autograph of the professional brush maker that actually manufactured that brush. So they are held to task by that measure, and like all fine artists, they do very proudly sign their work. So, so that's pretty impressive. It is quite a thing to own, you know, and really, The brush is to the artist what the chisel is to the woodworker. You know, this is the point of contact. So to have the very highest quality available, I think, is a mark of the professionalism of the artist or the craftsman. It's always been considered that for quite a long time by craftsmen of high caliber. I was behind a car the other day that had a little bumper sticker, and it was a woodworker, and the woodworker's bumper sticker said, many, many years after I die, my work will speak for me. You know, and that is for sure, I think, what a lot of us get into doing this for. It's something, we create something that will last beyond our years. And so these brushes allow us to create that with a very high level of quality. So I think the value that comes in something like this is self-explanatory. So I think that's pretty much it. They're very expensive. The price does vary. So rather than getting into a specific price, you know, I would refer you to the website, and they are carried by many of the major manufacturers, or distributors rather. So I think that's it. Thanks very much.